What is up, guys? You're listening to the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy. I'm your host, and I am the motherfucking CEO. Guys, Friday fire time, and I have something that is really good for you, okay? And a lot of times, it's hard to come up with things to talk about because a lot of these things blend together. But today, I think I have something that you guys are really going to like. When you start anything, when you start out on a path to anywhere, whether it be to learn something new, to create a business, to become more in shape, the first step, the first day, the first minute, okay, you're excited. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to kick ass, right? And the next day comes and you're like, man, this is a little tougher. And then you take another step and another step. And maybe you get to Thursday or Friday and you're like, fuck, this is pretty fucking hard, man. All right? And then what happens is the enthusiasm from the beginning of the process starts to fade out. Okay? You forgot why you started. All you could think about is what's in front of you right now. All you could think about is that next grueling step, that next terrible workout, that next day at work that you just can't fucking stand anymore. Okay? And you forget the purpose of why you started. And things become monotonous. They become hard. They become miserable. You become angry. You become frustrated. All right? And guys, that is normal. Anytime you start something new, anytime you set out on a new path, anytime you move out of your comfort zone, you're going to go through what is basically, if you could imagine, a bell curve of frustration. All right? Things are going to you're going to be excited, you're going to be pumped, you're going to have the momentum to carry you through the first 2 or 3 or 4 days. Maybe it's a week. Maybe it's 3 weeks. It's different for everybody. But the point is that when you get excited about something, we have natural energy that pushes us through. But what happens when that energy fades? What happens when you start to get frustrated? What happens when you start to feel like a grind and things get grueling and they get gritty and they get tough and it gets harder to move through the process every single day? What happens then? Most people fucking quit. Okay, and here's the fucked up thing about quitting when things are really fucking hard. Because they're about to get easier. They're about to get more fun. Okay, think about it. Think about whenever you tried something new. Maybe you play the guitar, and when you first started taking lessons, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to be fucking Slash. And then you realize that you're not going to be Slash for about 20 fucking years, if ever. And it gets pretty hard. Okay? And after the first 2 or 3 lessons, you're like, fuck, this is going to be really hard. And you start to grind it out. And you're like, okay, all right, this is tough, but I'm learning a little bit. And then all of a sudden, things start to click. All of a sudden, you get that special chord, or you figure out that your fingers can do this new movement that you didn't know they could do. And your body and mind start to work together. And all of a sudden, you're playing what sounds kind of like music. And then it gets exciting. And then you get, a natural burst of energy again like you had in the beginning. Okay? And anything is this way, guys. Anything, whether it be a new business, whether it be a new diet and fitness program, whether it be learning a new skill or hobby that you don't know. Anytime we work into a new area of life by moving out of our comfort zone, it's going to get really fucking hard, really fucking fast. And you have to understand that area where it gets really fucking hard is where most people quit. And the reason this is relevant to this podcast is because it's the same in entrepreneurship. Okay? In the beginning, everybody's excited. In the beginning, everybody's going to become a billionaire. In the beginning, everybody's going to conquer the world. But after a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, they start to get tired. They start to get frustrated. They start to ask, why is this so hard? They start to ask, why is this so hard for me? And they think it's just them. And they think the whole fucking universe is coming down on them. And that's when people quit. And guys, we all feel that way. We all have times of frustration. We all have times of anger. We all have times of why me? Why is this so hard for me? But at the end of the day, guys, when you start feeling that massive frustration, that massive anger, that massive irritation and massive stress, you are about to have a breakthrough. You are about to move through an area that most people can't make it through. And you've just got to keep moving. Because when you make it through that area, that's when shit gets fun. That's when you say, oh shit, man, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually an entrepreneur. I'm actually doing okay. I'm treading water. And the reason 9 out of 10 businesses fucking fail, guys, isn't because there's something wrong with business. It's because there's something wrong with people's mind. They don't have the ability to make it through the first curve of frustration. And along your career and along your journey in becoming great at anything, you're going to have these curves appear over and over and over again. But you have to keep in mind, guys, that just like the old saying, goes, things are darkest right before the fucking sunshine, or whatever the fuck people say. Things are the hardest right before they get better. Things are the most frustrating right before they get better. Things are the worst right before they get better. And it's hard to remember that when you're going through it. It's hard to remember that when you owe every single creditor, when your wife or husband's yelling at you for spending too much time at work, or too much time in the weight room, or too much time on this or that or whatever. It's hard to remember that things are going to get better, but they are, and this is part of the process. And all of us go through these little curves. We all do it. And guys, it's the ones who understand that things are going to improve and keep focused on the end result that make it through these curves. When you start focusing on how bad everything and how frustrated you are and how angry you are and how tough it is really fucking easy to talk yourself into quitting. But when you keep in mind why you started, when you keep in mind what your goals are, when you keep in mind what it is you're trying to accomplish, and you keep those things, at the forefront of your brain, written down everywhere you see anything, and you think about them and focus on them a day in and day out basis, guys, your chances of making it through these frustration curves increases tremendously. So learn how to control your focus. Learn how to think about what the end result is. Learn how to use the natural momentum and energy you have to accelerate the process of learning, but also know that the grind and the grit and the toughest, darkest parts of fucking any journey are right before shit gets fun.